Now, Coventry kept themselves in the hunt for a playoff place with victory over Leeds at the weekend. We didn't see that one coming. They visit St Mary's, of course, on Tuesday evening. Glenn, it was a 1-1 back in December. I think Samadozi rescuing the point from memory. That was kind of like halfway through the unbeaten run. This is going to be a really tough game on Tuesday night because they're suddenly back in it, aren't they? And it's going to be, it looks like Coventry or Norwich for that last playoff place. And they're going to be up for this one. We could be in trouble.
Well, I mean, to be honest, forgetting the fact that we're likely to be in the playoffs, if I was watching this as a neutral, I'd be wanting Coventry to get in there as opposed to Norwich. But because I think Norwich are a dreadful football team, but they seem to have strung together a few results and are currently in 6th place. But no, I like Mark Robbins. There's nothing to dislike about him and the way he goes about things. The fact he's been a manager at the same team for 6 years, I think, is obviously something
unheard of, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about Watford in a minute, aren't we?
Yeah.
There you go. They probably had about 20 managers in that time, but no, I thought. I mean, I didn't think Coventry were that great against us, but we picked a slightly funny team in that one. We picked Joe Aribo as a winger, and we didn't really have any sort of pace in the team, and it was a suitably sort of stodgy kind of performance until we went behind. It was a bad goal we conceded to Haji Wright, where, I don't know if you remember it, it was where we lost the ball in midfield and we should have done the old tactical foul, pulled him down, but no one did, and it was allowed to run through and he teed up Haji Wright, who scored. So after that we woke up and Samadozi equalised. So it was one of those games during the run that ultimately, I think Steve was talking about this last week, it was a draw where we basically dropped 2 points, a game that we should have won. If we'd have played anywhere near our best level, we would have won that. And so, but it's changed. It's changed now. Coventry are coming into this game in decent form. I think they've won 4 out of the last 5. Beat Leeds, champions elect, a few days ago. So it's going to be a difficult one. And they certainly, having just beaten Leeds, they're not going to come into this game with any fear. So if we play like we did at Blackburn, then it could be a bit of a nasty game, I think. But
I think they play Ipswich their last game of the season as well, so they could have a say in how things work out at the top too. Which and
they're also in the FA Cup still, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I was going to say that they have one eye on the FA Cup because that's on Saturday, so they play Manchester United, and I just wonder, it must be a bit of a conundrum for them because that's a huge game, but at the same time, the playoffs has got to be the ultimate aim for them, isn't it? So I guess it's wishful thinking, Steve. They might have one eye on that FA Cup semi-final with Man United.
Well, I mean, the one eye will be looking at the way that Man United play today against Liverpool and thinking, well, I could put my reserve team out and we'll win that. I mean, that was an extraordinary performance. How they got a draw out of that, no idea. That was just an insane game of football. But yeah, Coventry have been really impressive the last 2 months, really. Basically, ever since they beat Leicester in that Saturday lunchtime game. They came from behind and beat them 3-1. They beat them really well. Leicester had a man sent off in the first half, but they just didn't give them a sniff. And at that point, everyone thought, well, that's fine. Leicester are still 12 points clear or whatever it was that they were. No problems there. And now all of a sudden they're kind of catchable. But yeah, Coventry's issues basically have been injury related. I mean, same as a lot of sides. You got relatively small squads, so if you've got key players out injured for any period of time, then you generally struggle to replace them. And their kind of key creative player, Callum O'Hare, missed big chunks of the first half of the season. But now he's fit and available and firing. All of a sudden, they've actually got someone who can create stuff for Ellis Sims and Haji Wright, who were both first half of the season, both were getting chances but largely missing them. Now all of a sudden the confidence is up. They're finding the back of the net more often than not. So yeah, it's a huge game Tuesday in terms of this is an opposition that we're actually going to have a defensive plan for. Whereas I think, you go into a game like Saturdays at Blackburn and you think, well, it's Sam Gallagher. Okay, And I mean, just going back to yesterday, by the way, the sponsors gave Sam Gallagher man the match. It's like, genuinely what? Absolutely no idea what for. He had about 3 touches all afternoon. But yeah, so Coventry have got excellent attackers in form, and they're gonna cause us problems. I actually think that Tuesday's game is one for the Stevens at sort of nominal left back.
Well, I was going to say, this is the sort of game where that might work, not Blackburn away.
Because of the 2 strikers. If you play with effectively 3 centre backs, then you then obviously negate the fact that they've got 2 of them, and you can pass around them. So I think that'll be the theory going into Tuesday, and then hopefully we can look at getting back to a proper formation against Watford on Saturday, who will theoretically pose much lesser threats.
Yeah, but the way we've called these things, Glenn, that probably means that Ryan Manning comes back in. But one of the notes, I think, from the match report when we played them last time was Adam Armstrong lifting 3 good chances over the bar. So you would think if we stick with the same, with Jack Stevens slotting in as that sort of nominal left back, the changes are going to come up front, really, aren't they? You'd expect Che Adams to come back in for this one.
Oh God, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, it just, whatever you think of Che Adams as a player, it is the best of what we got at playing that number 9 role. So to me, he has to play, and he has to stay on the pitch as well. Don't take him off, because then it all seems to go a bit wrong. But it's probably too much to hope for. I mean, funnily enough, one of the things I remember about the last Coventry game is that they had a right winger, Sakamoto, I think his name is, who did cause us a lot of problems down that side. And obviously it was Ryan Manning playing that day. So, but I noticed
he's out. I think.
Yeah, he wasn't in the squad in their game against Leeds. So Haji Wright played down the right hand side. So it'd be interesting to see what we do. But the big difference for Coventry is Ellis Sims is now scoring goals, whereas he wasn't in the first half of the season. So it's going to be one to watch from a defensive point of view. But in answer to your question, yes, attacking wise, you would think that Che Adams will start. Adam Armstrong will obviously start as well. And then it's any one really out of Brooks, Fraser, Sulemana, Edozie. I'd like to see Edozie start on the left, but I've got a feeling he'll be 4th choice.
Yeah.
and it wouldn't surprise me if it's Sulemana actually in this particular game. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think. I mean, Stuart Armstrong will come back. Hopefully, Joe Aribo will stay in the team. Other than that, you know what it's going to be with Stevens probably playing at left back.
Depends how Sulemana does in training this week.
Yeah, maybe.
How many worldies he scores. Let's try and do some score predictions. I'm not too confident about this. I mean, we're not going to keep another clean sheet. I don't think. I can see us losing maybe 2-1. I think it's going to be quite a narrow one. Steve, score prediction for you, please, for Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean, just what the fan base needs to get sort of behind the team again, isn't it? A game against a side who's sort of firing on all cylinders. But yeah, I mean, you'd like to think that there's something in there where the players just say, right, no, we're gonna turn up for this.
Yeah,
and it's going to be the tempo is going to be faster, and maybe the attacking changes actually dictate those. That sort of change in tempo, because I mean let's also not kind of go too overboard with it, because it was only a week ago that we were saying, well, for 65 minutes we absolutely battered Ipswich.
It was brilliant,
and we were superb in that game. So how about we just get back to that? That'd be nice. I think to be honest, a draw probably actually suits both sides almost in a way. I mean, I'd obviously love us to win it, but they're in good form. We're slightly patchy, shall we say? And yeah, we're not going to keep a clean sheet in this one. 1-1.
Okay, I did read somewhere if we draw all of our remaining fixtures, then Coventry can't catch us. So you are right. A draw is fine for us. Less so for them. Glenn, score prediction for Tuesday?
Yeah, everything Steve just said basically, and I'll go 2-2 just to be different. But I actually think 1-1. But as we all know, it doesn't matter what I think with regards to score predictions. I'll go for 2-2. I can't see us getting a clean sheet, even though I did predict one, and at Blackburn,
And you got it right, yeah.
and everybody laughed at me. I just got our 2 goals I didn't get right, unfortunately. So yeah, a 2-2 draw for me. I think it will be a tough game, and I think we will be better than we were against Blackburn. I think there'll have been a few angry words said about that performance. It's interesting.
The game should be more open, shouldn't it? Really?
Yeah. I mean, because
they need to win.
Yeah, I mean, Coventry's FA Cup game, that may have a bearing. I don't think they'll rest any players, but I mean, I thought against Blackburn we had a few players who were putting in kind of 80% performances. Possibly to do with, well, we're not getting automatic promotion now, and there may be a couple of those from Coventry, bearing in mind that the game they've got coming up against Man United. So hopefully that's a factor, but I still think overall it'll end up as a 2-2 draw.
Okay, if you're watching live, don't forget to put your score predictions in the comments as well, so we can see all those.